Y gracias por acompañarnos. Esto es tampahoy.com y estamos a solo minutos de escuchar una actualización sobre el submarino perdido que se conducía hacia los restos del naufragio famoso, el Titanic, el día domingo. Estamos hablando del submarino Titan o Titán en español de la empresa Ocean Gate. Gracias por acompañarnos. Le saluda Gerardo Sierra. Bienvenido a usted que nos acompaña a través de nuestra plataforma de Facebook, también a través de nuestra plataforma tampahoy.com. Los últimos detalles que se habían revelado de este submarino perdido que se encuentra extraviado desde el domingo, surgió en la madrugada de hoy miércoles. Un avión de vigilancia militar detectó algunos ruidos que parecían como que si estaban tocando. Estos fueron sonidos detectados por un sonar de un avión canadiense. Esto luego de una búsqueda masiva que involucra agencias tanto de Estados Unidos, estamos hablando de la Guardia Costera, estamos hablando de la Agencia Naval de los Estados Unidos, también estamos hablando de las agencias, diferentes agencias canadienses, también Francia ha enviado recursos porque hay uno de los tripulantes es de nacionalidad francesa, y vamos a ver en este momento imágenes de lo que se están preparando para dar una conferencia la Guardia Costera de los Estados Unidos, y vamos a escuchar en solo minutos. La conferencia de prensa está programada para la 1 de la tarde y vamos a escuchar lo último que tienen que decir referente a esta embarcación que, como les comento, está perdida desde el día domingo. Vemos ahí a una de las oficiales de la Guardia Costera. Vamos a escuchar.
Okay, good afternoon, everyone. Thank you so much for being here today. Today we'll be hosting another press briefing to discuss any updates regarding the search and rescue case for the submersible Titan that's located approximately 900 nautical miles offshore in the vicinity of the wreck of the Titanic. Today we will have speaking Captain Frederick, Response Coordinator of the 1st Coast Guard District. He'll be giving a brief statement followed by about 10 minutes for questions and answers. Thank you so much again. Let me please introduce Captain Frederick.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Captain Jamie Frederick with the 1st Coast Guard District, and I'll provide an update on our ongoing search efforts for the Titan submarine. Behind me, or beside me, I should say, you'll see several subject matter experts from the Unified Command who will introduce themselves momentarily. These individuals represent only a small fraction of the many dedicated professionals working around the clock on this complex response effort. We understand this is an extremely difficult time for the families of the missing crew members aboard the Titan, and our thoughts go out to them and the crew. The Unified Command team is working tirelessly to bring all available assets and expertise to bear as quickly as possible in response to this complex operation. And we remain in close contact with the family members and the crew to ensure they are fully aware of our current and future search efforts. Additionally, we have been in close contact with the British and French Consulates General to ensure that they are fully appraised of our efforts, and we are ensuring that their concerns are being addressed. We're incredibly grateful for the full spectrum of international assistance that has been provided, including an expert submariner from the Royal Navy, who's here with us serving aboard as a critical member of our team. Additionally, a team of highly trained French ROV operators departed St. John's last night are en route to aid the search. Moreover, our Canadian partners have been providing critical leadership and significant response capabilities since the beginning of our efforts. Again, this is an incredibly complex search operation requiring both surface and subsurface elements, and our unified approach is critical. The location of the search, 900 miles east of Cape Cod and 400 miles southeast of St. John's, makes it exceptionally difficult to mobilize large amounts of equipment quickly. In spite of those challenges, we've been able to provide continuous air and surface search assets, as well as additional ROV capability to search below the surface. We currently have 5 surface assets searching for the Titan, and we expect 10 total surface assets to search in the next 24 to 48 hours. There are 2 ROVs actively searching, and several more are en route and will arrive by tomorrow morning. We've received incredible support with aviation assets from our Coast Guard Air Station in Elizabeth City, the Air National Guard, and Canadian Armed Forces. Today there are 2 back-to-back P3 flights. One is ongoing now as I speak, totaling 14 hours of continuous on-scene coverage, and 2 C-130 flights, also one ongoing now, throughout the day and into the evening. Yesterday, a Canadian P3 detected underwater noises in the search area. As a result, ROV operations were relocated in an attempt to explore the origin of the noises. Although the ROV searches have yielded negative results, they continue. Additionally, the data from the P3 aircraft has been shared with our U.S. Navy experts for further analysis, which will be considered in future search plans. The surface search is now approximately 2 times the size of Connecticut, and the subsurface search is up to 2.5 miles deep, exponentially expanding the size of the search area. We also have to factor in the ever-changing weather conditions, currents, and sea states that expand the search area every hour. There's an enormous complexity associated with this case due to the location being so far offshore, and the coordination between multiple agencies and nations. We greatly appreciate the outpouring of support and offers to provide additional equipment. The Unified Command continues to prioritize assets and resources in order to provide the best capability in the most timely manner. This includes weighing multiple factors to identify the most effective resources available to the response operation, with careful consideration to timeliness of equipment arriving on scene, usefulness and ability to deliver assets to the search area. Over the past 48 hours, we have, through incredible unity of effort, mobilized and implemented a tremendous amount of expertise and response capability. In addition to the ships and aircraft previously mentioned, we've dispatched 2 subject matter experts from U.S. Navy NAVSEA SUPSALV, who will serve as search coordinators on scene for underwater search operations. So I've been stressing unity of effort a lot in this statement, and that's because it is absolutely critical to this complex operation. Again, our thoughts and prayers are with the crew of the Titan and their loved ones. We will continue to work as hard and as quickly as possible in an effort to locate them. I will take a few questions, but before I do that, I do want I'm going to have each of the members of the team here just introduce themselves, and then I'll go ahead and take some questions.
Good afternoon. I'm Paul Hankins. I'm the Director for Salvage Operations with the U.S. Navy's Supervisor of Salvage.
Hello, I'm Carl Hartsfield from the Woods Hole Oceanographic Institute.
Good afternoon, I'm Lieutenant Commander Rich Cantharia. I'm an exchange officer currently serving on the staff of Commander Submarines Atlantic at Norfolk, Virginia.
Good afternoon, Lieutenant Commander Christy Butler, working closely with Captain Frederick from RCC Boston, Search and Rescue Mission Coordinator. Thank you.
Thanks, Christy. So a couple things. One, I think when you're in the middle of a search and rescue case, you always have hope. That's why we're doing what we do. With respect to the noises specifically, we don't know what they are, to be frank with you. The P3 detected noises. That's why they're up there. That's why they're doing what they're doing. That's why they put sonar buoys in the water. The good news is, what I can tell you is we're searching in the area where the noises were detected, and we'll continue to do so. And we hope that when we're able to get additional ROVs, which will be there in the morning, the intent will be to continue to search in those areas where the noises were detected, and if they're continuing to be detected, and then put additional ROVs down in the last known position where the search was originally taking place. Yeah, these noises were coming in regular 30-minute intervals as reported. I hadn't heard 30-minute intervals. So here's what I can tell you. I am not a trained ear for underwater aquatics. That's why we have a team of experts that are analyzing that data. That data was sent immediately to the Navy last night, and it was analyzed overnight. They're still looking at it, but I can tell you that it's inconclusive. But again, I think the important piece is we're searching in the area where the noises were detected.
Captain, you didn't talk about a timeline. Can you talk about what timeline you're working on in conjunction with the teams that are there?
It's a timeline in what respect?
How much oxygen they have left on?
Oh, okay. Well, in terms of, so we talked about the oxygen number. I think you're all tracking the oxygen number. I think there's an important point with that, though. The oxygen, that's just one piece of data, right? There are a lot of pieces of data that we need to consider, and you know, we're continuously looking at that, and we'll continuously you know, do that throughout the search. But that's not the only thing that's important, right? And right now our efforts are solely focused on the search. That certainly is a dialogue that's happening, but we're focused in the middle of search and rescue, and we'll continue to put every available asset that we have in an effort to find the Titan and the crew members.
Captain, are those ROVs, and can you confirm that some sort of rectangular object has been spotted? There was some sort of report about that, I don't know.
So, well, a couple things. So the ROVs, each ROV brings different capability. The ROVs that are diving today, Paul, what's the depth on the
4,000 meters.
4,000 meters. And some additional ROVs that'll be arriving tomorrow have additional depth capability. With respect to an object, so yesterday one of the aircraft did see an object. I will tell you this: in search and rescue missions, when aircraft are flying continuously, there is stuff out in the ocean that is floating. We went back, we looked at it. It wasn't. We didn't determine it to be debris. We don't think it correlates with the case, and it is not uncommon at all during an active search to see things, and then we go and look at them. So
Just half the BBC News. When were these noises first heard? How long did they persist for? And if I could also ask, do you have any information in terms of food and water that they might have on board the site?
yeah, so so several P3 flights have heard the noises as yesterday, and we put assets there. We relocated assets immediately. With respect to food and water, it's my understanding there are some limited rations. I can't tell you exactly how much they have aboard, but they do have some limited rations aboard the vessel.
Speaking to the families, how much hope can you give them after hearing those noises?
Listen, I think you need to be careful. We need to have hope, right? But I can't tell you what the noises are. But what I can tell you is, and I think this is the most important point, we're searching where the noises are, and that's all we can do at this point.
Captain, there's clue right now about the status of the submersible, of the noises, and are the noises continuing now? Are they stopping?
So I just wanted to. So it was my understanding that the P3 had heard some noises today as well. But so I do want to take just an opportunity to invite Carl to the podium just to talk a little bit about. He has a little bit more expertise in underwater acoustics, and maybe just to speak to that in general, because again, you know, there are noises below the surface of the ocean, and so I'll just turn it to Carl.
Carl, can you spell your name? Yes, C-A-R-L-H-A-R-T-S-F-I-E-L-D. So again, Carl Hartsfield from the Woods Hole Oceanographic Institution. So the ocean is a very complex place. Obviously, human sounds, nature sounds, and it's very difficult to discern what the source of those noises are at times, but I can tell you that this team has multiple sensors. They're in the area. They're sending data back expeditiously to the best in the world people to analyze that data, and then they're feeding the results of that analysis back to the unified team, and they're making decisions. So Woods Hole is here in an advisory role, but by our expertise, what I see is a very tight operational loop that's making decisions based on data, and nothing is ruled out. There have been multiple reports of noises, and every one of those noises is being analyzed, tracked, looked for patterns, and reported upon.
Can you describe what the noise? Can you describe what the noise sounds like that they're hearing?
Well, you know, the noises, again, very complex in the ocean. You have to be an acoustic analysis, and you have to have context. They're trying to put all the pieces together. The noises have been described as banging noises, but again, they have to put the whole picture together in context, and they have to eliminate potential man-made sources other than the Titan.
Is it possible that a ship in the ocean, or even some mammals out there could mimic that kind of sound?
So I can tell you from my experience with acoustics that there are sounds by biologics that sound man-made to the untrained ear, but I can assure you that the people listening to these tapes are trained. There are a lot of vessels in the area and they each make noise, right? So all of that has to be eliminated, and it's analysis over time. Plus, as the captain said, the team is searching in the right area. So if you continue to do the analysis, look for different patterns and search in the right area, you're doing the best you possibly can do with the best people on the case.
And Captain, apparently there was a deep ocean salvage system flyway that was sent there to the location. Can you tell if it's on site yet, and how it operates, and how long it would take to rescue it with that tape?
Which system is he speaking about? You know the system? What's the system that you're talking about?
It's called a flyway deep ocean salvage system.
That's just a hydraulic.
Yeah, that's
a crane.
Yeah, so that's what I thought. So that's a piece of equipment. It's a crane piece of equipment. There are a lot of pieces of equipment flowing in through St. John's right now. One thing I did want to mention, I think it's important. Some of the ROV capability that's arriving soon is really great, incredible capability. One thing I want to point out is that French team that's coming in to serve aboard with their equipment aboard a French ship. They bring some state-of-the-art equipment, and so once they get on, we're going to have more assets down to look, and we'll continue to put them where we think the best location is.
But if you were the search area expanded, how many days passed? Are you still optimistic that you're gonna find them?
So how many days? Did you ask how many days? So
How many days?
well, so we have to remain optimistic and hopeful when you're in a search and rescue case. So we're right in the middle of the search and rescue case. So I don't want to get into a discussion about when that would end with respect to this case. What I will tell you, though, I'm happy to explain to you kind of how that process were to work. The Coast Guard prosecutes search and rescue cases on a daily basis, and sometimes we don't find what we're looking for, and you have to carefully consider all of the factors, and there are a lot of factors you consider. And then after you consider all of those factors, sometimes you're in a position where you have to make a tough decision. We're not there yet. But if we continue to search, potentially we could be at that point. But again, we're not there yet. And that's a discussion that we will have with the family long before I'm going to discuss that here publicly.
What does the rescue operation look like? What does the rescue operation look like?
I'm sorry, ma'am. Yeah, so I can't put a number on the I'm not going to put a percent. I don't have a percentage number. What I would tell you is that is just one data point, and there are more data points than that we have to look at. So right now we continue to search, and we'll have that later. Sure. So the report. So the noises were heard by a Canadian P3, and that was this morning and some yesterday. I don't know specifically over that 30-minute intervals, but again, I really think the important point to that is we're in the air, we're searching there. We moved assets and we're searching there, and we'll continue to do so.
What would the rescue operation look like?
Go ahead. Yeah, I don't. So, listen. Whether it's operable or whether it's sitting on the ocean floor, whether it's in the sea column, or whether it's in the surface, it's all speculation. And we're just not in the business of speculation. We're in the business of searching, and we're putting everything we can with the data we have to search for the vessel. And I think we'll take one more question. Go ahead, sorry. Yeah, so we we asked for some additional subsurface support, and we got that through the Navy, through a liaison officer. He's just one of many team members, and we're greatly appreciative of the British government and all the support they've given us.
Can we expect a daily update now on this?
So I think the plan will be to do a daily like this. I'm not going to lock into that right now, but we'll keep you informed, and certainly if there's any major developments, we'll let you know. Thank you very much.
Really, did you say submarine? Sir, are you saying submarines are assisting?
Thank you so much for attending today's press briefing. That will conclude all questions. Thank you.
Escuchábamos al capitán Frederick de la Guardia Costera de los Estados Unidos. Hay una frase que el capitán dijo que es necesitamos mantener la esperanza y es lo que resume básicamente la conferencia de prensa y la actualización con los últimos detalles del día de hoy de la Guardia Costera. La búsqueda continúa, más recursos. Ahora están hablando de Francia, como les mencionaba hace unos minutos antes de la conferencia. Francia está enviando más vehículos, los que llaman ROVs o ROVs, que son vehículos operados a control remoto. Los vehículos que tiene la Guardia Costera de Estados Unidos y el gobierno canadiense también tienen un alcance de 4.000 pies de profundidad. Para dar una idea, el naufragio del Titanic está a 12.000 pies de profundidad. El capitán Frederick de la Guardia Costera mencionó que los equipos que está enviando Francia son avanzados y que esperan incrementar la capacidad que tienen en este momento. Esta búsqueda por el submarino Titanic comenzó el domingo, luego de que 1 hora y media más o menos después de que se dirigía hacia el naufragio considerado el más famoso del mundo, los restos del Titanic, perdió comunicación con su base. Y comenzó una búsqueda extensa que, como bien lo dicen las autoridades de la Guardia Costera, se extiende ahora, hasta el día de hoy, a una extensión de más de 2 veces la extensión del estado de Connecticut. Esa es un aproximado de la extensión que se encuentra buscando tanto agencias de Estados Unidos, Canadá y ahora Francia. Una de las preguntas que escuchábamos durante la conferencia que hacían los periodistas al final es el tiempo que queda de oxígeno en esta embarcación. El día de ayer reportábamos en Noticias Tampa hoy que a las 9 de la noche del día de ayer esta embarcación tenía aproximadamente 40 horas de oxígeno restante. A la 1 de la tarde del día de hoy, cuando comenzó esta conferencia de prensa, esta embarcación contaba entre alrededor de 14 y 15 horas de oxígeno. También mencionaron otro punto muy importante, que son las raciones de alimento que tienen dentro de la embarcación para las 5 personas que se encuentran dentro de este sumergible. Dijeron que estas raciones son bastante limitadas, no quisieron obviamente dar detalles al respecto. Y también la ubicación, otro punto que mencionó el capitán Frederick de la Guardia Costera, es que el terreno donde se encuentra extraviado este sumergible hace bastante complicada la búsqueda. Este factor de las condiciones del mar, describieron que el domingo y el lunes sobre todo habían tenido condiciones que dificultaban la visibilidad. El día de ayer mejoró un poco las condiciones, al igual que el día de hoy, pero la extensión se está haciendo más grande. Otro punto que mencionaban es que después de los ruidos detectados tarde en la noche el día de ayer, es que movilizaron recursos que tenían de algunas ubicaciones hacia la ubicación donde se detectaron estos ruidos submarinos. De hecho, escuchábamos de expertos en acústica submarina y dijeron que sonaban como que si eran ruidos hechos por el hombre, pero debido a la complejidad de los sonidos hechos debajo del mar a cientos o miles de pies de profundidad era inconcluso. Los patrones y el tipo de sonidos todavía están siendo investigados, decían por la agencia de la naval de los Estados Unidos. Y nosotros seguimos a la espera de más detalles. No han dado con claridad cuándo van a dar la próxima actualización, si va a ser una cuestión de día a día que van a dar o van a brindar más detalles al respecto. Pero, ¿qué sabemos de los 5 tripulantes? Uno de ellos, por ejemplo, es el CEO y fundador de la compañía OceanGate, que es la organizadora de estas expediciones, que de hecho se encuentra dentro del submarino y se cree que es uno de los que dirigía esta expedición. También otro de los miembros de esta tripulación de 5, que es el aviador francés, Jamie, estoy tratando de buscar el nombre acá entre toda la información que tenemos, y es por eso que está involucrada el gobierno francés, un aviador francés. También están 2 miembros de una de las familias más ricas de Pakistán, y también un experto en todo lo relacionado con el Titanic, que le dicen Mr. Titanic, que todos empresarios reconocidos que se dirigían hacia esta expedición para visitar los restos del Titanic. Lo invitamos a usted que se encuentra, que está sintonizando esta transmisión a través de Facebook, que si tiene alguna pregunta o si quiere alguna duda, algún pensamiento, que lo comparta en la sección de comentarios, y con gusto lo vamos a responder. Es inimaginable de verdad lo que se está sucediendo debajo del mar. Describían esta cápsula de 22 pies de longitud nada más, en la que de los 5 tripulantes solo uno podía extender sus piernas. Eso es parte de lo que describían del interior de esta cápsula, que se considera de hecho una de las más grandes, si no la más grande del mundo, con capacidad de explorar el mar a esta profundidad. Como lo mencionaba, el naufragio del Titanic se encuentra a 12,000 pies de profundidad. Ya otras expediciones han explorado los restos del Titanic. Y esta es una actividad turística que costaba cada boleto $250,000, y esto es parte de la información que ha estado rondando, y de la cual hemos estado discutiendo en los últimos días. Y vamos a nosotros a compartir más detalles a medida que los tengamos disponibles. Pero en este momento la Guardia Costera de los Estados Unidos, con otras agencias también estadounidenses, agencias de Canadá, continúan la búsqueda el sumergible Titan de la compañía OceanGate Expeditions, y continúa perdido a unas 900 millas náuticas de Cape Cod en Massachusetts. Vamos a nosotros mantenerlo más informado. Puede encontrar lo último y los más detalles sobre la tripulación, sobre detalles de la cápsula Titan, más de la empresa, y a seguir la conversación en tampahoy.com. Y también esta es una oportunidad para que nos sigan en las redes sociales. Vamos a compartir nosotros más información acerca de este caso. Nos encuentra en Twitter, nos encuentra en Facebook, nos encuentra en Instagram y en YouTube como Tampa Hoy. Soy Gerardo Sierra, y más adelante el día de hoy vamos a tener una edición de Vigilando los Trópicos, que también vamos a compartir a través de nuestras plataformas en vivo, a través de Facebook, a través de YouTube y a través de tampahoy.com, para saber todo lo que se encuentra sucediendo en los trópicos. Vamos a a poner una pausa en esta cobertura en vivo del sumergible perdido que se dirigía hacia el Titanic con 5 tripulantes a bordo, y vamos a recabar más detalles y vamos a seguir nuestra investigación. Por el momento lo dejamos hasta acá, y para más detalles puede visitar tampahoy.com.